Hello, my spicy friends. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 Great League cores. And for those of you who don't know, a core in Pokemon Go PvP is a group of Pokemon that have great synergy with each other and are usually what a team is built around. And so I'm not really going to be reviewing the top 10 best teams, but more like the top 10 best groups of Pokemon in a team. I hope you all enjoy, and maybe you'll learn something. If you haven't, then I suppose you're pretty good at this game already. But either way, I just thought this would be a fun topic to make, and I hope you all enjoy. Number 10, Bastiodon and Shadow Victreebell. This used to be a really infamous core, grass-sold teams everywhere. Bastiodon, Shadow Victreebell, probably paired with another Razor Leafer that dealt a lot of damage, but as time went on, people realized how to build teams around it, and also that it just really wasn't that good. I mean, there's a lot of things that beat it now, plus more Pokemon being added over time that kind of just beat the core. Not to mention the fact that it is incredibly RPS based, so you really have to line this core up correctly. A lot of other cores have ways to get around bad leads, but with this core, you're fucked if you don't get the lead that you want. So all in all, I would still say it's a good core. Whenever I go on to Go Battle League, I see it from time to time, but Bastiodon and Shadow Victreebell, they are a pretty good pair, but not as good as the other options we're going to see later on in this list. Number 9, Nidoqueen and Umbreon, or Scrafty. I'm kind of lumping them all together here just because they all work the same. Nidoqueen and Darks are a fantastic combination. Nidoqueen beats the Charmers, and in return the Darks beat the Psychics. It's a simple core. I guess Nidoqueen also beats the counter users too. It's very flexible core because a lot of these Pokemon often rely on energy generation, which lets them use better coverage options. And Nidoqueen especially, Poison Jab and Earth Power are fantastic. It can hit a lot. And generally all the Pokemon in these cores are strong in their own right as well. Now, as for the weaknesses, they are definitely vulnerable to a ton of the meta, especially Azumarill and Medicham. They kind of just shred through these cores. So, if it weren't for all these Pokemon ever that broke through the core, this would probably be like number 3 or number 2, but as is, it's just okay. Number 8, Trevenant and Shadow Machamp. Now, with any good core, the two Pokemon cover each other well, and these two are no exception, since they beat a good majority of the meta on their own. Not to mention the fact that Trevenant and Shadow Machamp share the quality of both having strong fast pressure and being absolutely devastating with charge moves with just a little bit of energy. But as for their weaknesses, and they do have weaknesses, they are comically frail Pokemon. You will need shields unless you're up against a Pokemon won't do super effective or even neutral damage to them. So you're going to need a bulky safe swap. A good Pokemon to pair with these two probably would be something like Lickitung, I suppose. Anyway, yeah, these two are great. We're getting to the really good stuff here. Number 7, Skarmory and Scrafty. Now, these two Pokemon are famous Great League staples, and they are well known for their amazing bulk, a good fast and charge pressure, and combined, they can beat out most of the meta. Plus, Scrafty is a very flexible Pokemon with power-up punches or foul plays, depending on what you feel like you need at the moment. So, these two go together very well. Very flexible Pokemon. But, of course, as for the weaknesses, they are very vulnerable to electrics. Galvantula for sure, because it resists counter from Scrafty. And counter itself is pretty common, and these two Pokemon do not exactly enjoy counter users, because Scrafty is of course weak to it while being neutral against most counter users, and Skarmory takes neutral from counter, and some of them it can't even beat even with Air Slash. They both lose to Primate, for example. But yes, this is a very good core. And we're going to get even better from here. Number 6, Galarian, Stunfisk, and a Charmer. Now, this might be cheating a little bit because it's not technically a Pokemon specifically, but really Galarian, Stunfisk, and 2 Charmers of any kind are a fantastic core. Fuck, I've even succeeded with Shinchino, but, you know, there are probably better Charmers using that. But anyway, yeah, basically you just want Galarian Stunfisk to do a bunch of damage that they hopefully won't shield, and then apply a bunch of fast pressure with Charmers. As for weaknesses of this team, there are obviously, you gotta deal with fires and steals in the back. If you mess up alignment, you're fucked. But generally, it's a very, very strong core that has seen a lot of play, much to the anger of salty players. It's like the new grass hole, even. Number 5, Trevenant and Azumarill. Now, as much as I would love to gush over every single thing on this list, the fact of the matter is there are some things on here that are just good because they synergize so dang well. Trevenant and Azumarill are one of those cores. They have great fast pressure, great charge pressure, great coverage, and they hit a lot of the meta very hard. Now, as for the weaknesses, they do have some weaknesses. They are mostly vulnerable to poison types and grasses that have dark coverage, so that means Siftree and the very rare Carnivine and Simisage if you want to get really spicy. But yeah, not a ton to say. These two are just really good. But don't worry, the next couple ones will be more interesting. Number 4, Bastiodon and Medicham. Here it is, my least favorite core to go up against. And I will say this right off the bat, these two probably have the single best coverage out of any core in this entire list. There are very few Pokemon in this meta that can beat both, and what's more, the few meta Pokemon that can, such as Jellicent, often rely on baits with Bubble Beam. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, if they have such good coverage, why aren't they number 1? Well, the truth is that Bastiodon and Medicham are both very, very, very RPS and alignment based. So if you don't get them aligned correctly, you're fucked. Plain and simple. Some people attempt to use Sableye as a safe swap to alleviate this issue, but part of the problem is Sableye and Medicham backline are vulnerable to Charm. Wait, sorry, did I say vulnerable? I meant absolutely fucking destroyed. So, yeah, it does have its flaws, but it's also an incredibly strong core in the right situation. Number 3, Altaria and Galarian Stunfisk. Now, these two have been tearing up Go Battle League ever since Season 1, or I guess a little later than that because Galarian Stunfisk was introduced pretty soon after GBL was introduced. But anyway, the point is, these two are famous in Great League, and combined, they form an incredibly strong core with very few core breakers. Altaria provides strong fast pressure, Galarian Stunfisk provides strong charge pressure, and together, of course, they form an incredibly strong combination. It's very, very bulky. Now, as for their minimal weaknesses, they are pretty weak to the meta waters in Open Great League, especially Azumarill. You know, being weak to the strongest Pokemon in the league is never a good sign. Plus, you know, there's always a 50-50 with Galarian Stunfisk and mirrors because Altaria sure as fuck isn't gonna fight back against Galarian Stunfisk, you know? And Altaria, of course, is also kind of RPS. It is very reliant on getting good switch-ins because it does most of its damage with Dragon Breath. But overall, it is a very strong core that is seen in many Great League teams. Number 2, Skarmory and Swampert. Now, these two have actually been quite the underrated core lately. They've popped up here and there in a couple of major teams, but nothing too big or major.
and they have fantastic strengths. They have amazing type coverage, decent bulk, fantastic defensive typing, very few meta losses, and to top it all off, they're not even very RPS. Skarmory and Swampert can fight back with their charge moves. Well, I guess Swampert's doing that, because all Skarmory has is Sky Attack, Brave Bird, maybe Flash Cannon for like the one time it needs it, I guess. But the point is, these two have fantastic synergy and can go up against a ton of meta threats. I would say their only weakness is that Skarmory and Swampert are kind of bulky, but they're not that bulky. So that means neutral stuff that's really bulky like Umbreon, Mantine, or Mandibuzz can outbulk them. They are still, however, a very strong core, and definitely deserve this number 2 spot on this list.
Alright, here we are at number 1, Azumarill and Altaria. And I think it's safe to say that everyone watching this video who has played Great League should have seen this one coming. I mean, let's face it, these two have been dominating Great League since it was made. There have been buffs here and there and nerfs here and there to try to stop them, but that doesn't change the fact these two have been dominating the meta since its very inception. They, of course, have consistent fast pressure and charge pressure and fantastic coverage. I really don't know what else to say at this point. They're just amazing at pretty much everything. Their one tiny weakness is that they don't do very well, or at least they don't completely destroy ices and steels, maybe electrics, which allows a couple of fringe picks like Ludicolo, Clang, Clink Clang, and Dedenne, along with a couple of others to scoop some wins out of this. Probably the only super major meta thing here is Abomasnow, maybe Lickitung, but you know, you barely see any of that. So I think it is safe to say these two make Great League's strongest core, and they probably will be Great League's strongest core for many seasons to come. Thanks everyone for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic evening.
Remember everyone, stay spicy.